Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, coming up in the next 30 minutes. Reaffirming his decision to stay in the race despite calls to reconsider, US President Joe Biden says he's all in to seek re-election on November 5th. Addressing black voters, targets Donald Trump's record as president. Defeated Trump rivals Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis set to address the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee on day 2. Party seeks to convey unity after the attempted assassination of Trump on Saturday. Rwandan President Paul Kagame wins fourth term with 99% of votes. 66-year-old Kagame thanks Rwandans for giving him another chance. Torrential rains wreak havoc worldwide. Thousands stranded in Canada as flash floods hits highways and roads in Toronto after heavy downpour. In US, dam failure in Nashville prompts evacuations. All right, on to the details now. Donald Trump arrived at the day 2 of the Republican National Convention to a much more jovial mood than on Tuesday. Trump took a seat as his former presidential rivals Ted Cruz, Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley delivered their convention speeches. The convention began just 2 days after Trump survived an assassination attempt at a campaign rally in Pennsylvania. Trump attended the first night of the convention with a bandage on his ear to cheers and chants of fight, fight, fight. Well, Kate Fisher joins us with more from Washington on this. Well, Kate, if you talk about today's day 2, it is said that Trump was very jovial today. Speakers made yesterday many claims about border crossings, gas prices, tax cuts, the relative wealth of young Americans, Easter Sunday. Can you give us an overall of what all has transpired at the convention on day 1?
Well, we're now on day 2, but yes, day 1 was all about the economy and Donald Trump also making his first public appearance since the shooting on Saturday evening. He walked in with a bandage across his ear to thunderous applause. He's back in the convention hall again this evening for the second day. Today is all about crime. It's entitled Make America Safe Again. And he again came into thunderous applause. He will not be speaking today. He's in the hall to listen to the keynote speakers who will be taking to the stage as we speak. Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis are the biggest names speaking tonight. Both of them challenged Donald Trump to become the Republican presidential nominee, but he beat them both. And this is really about the Republicans trying to show a sense of unity in their party. The fact that these two potential candidates who had been used some fairly unfriendly language about Donald Trump in the past, the fact that they are now speaking at the convention to hail him as their nominee and to persuade the people who voted for them in the primaries that now they should vote for Donald Trump. That is the Republicans trying to show that their party is unified. And as I said, the main kind of topic of today is all about crime. That's immigration as well as law enforcement.
All right, Kate, the convention has 4 themes for every day of the convention, with each theme playing on Trump's iconic Make America Great Again catchphrase. Can you tell us about the themes for the various days?
Yes, today is Make America Safe Again. So they are talking about crime, which is something that is matters very much to voters in the United States, particularly Republican voters who want to see more police officers on the streets. They want to see more funding for the police. You may remember that after the protests after the death of George Floyd in the US, there were a lot of people on the left of politics calling for the police to be defunded because it was a police officer who had killed George Floyd. Republicans are very much about a strong sense of law and order, so they'll be discussing that, and also immigration, which Republicans say is one of the reasons for crime in the United States. They accuse immigrants who cross particularly the southern border into the United States from South America. They blame them for much of the crime in the US, and therefore they're talking about the importance of stricter and stronger immigration policies. Donald Trump has already said on the campaign trail that he will deport immigrants from the US. And so this is a big issue when it comes to trying to persuade voters on both sides. Republicans are coming out very strongly against immigration, and that is the message they're going to be sending tonight.
All right, Kate, thank you so much for all that update from there. And moving on, J.D. Vance was a bitter critic of Donald Trump in the lead-up to the 2016 presidential election. Publicly, he also called the Republican presidential candidate an idiot. Trump has named Vance as his running mate for 2024 elections. A video has surfaced on internet from a talk Vance gave at the University of Chicago Institute of Politics in February 2017. Though the talks were focused on Vance's best-selling memoir, Hillbilly, during the talk, he said that he did not vote for Trump in the 2016 election and was concerned about Trump's rhetoric, but agreed with his focus on jobs.
The question is on
This implicates something I said earlier, though, that there's this question of the alternative, right? I didn't vote for Trump. I am hopeful, like I think most Americans, that he'll be successful because his success is now the country's success. But I didn't vote for Hillary either. And so there's this issue where even for me, as problematic as I saw a lot of Trump's rhetoric and his ideas on how to fix some of these problems, I agreed with him that the problems were there. But it was just really hard for me to vote for Hillary Clinton. And definitely some people who voted for Trump were racist and they voted for him for racist reasons. I always resist the idea that the real thing driving most Trump voters was racial anxiety or racial animus. Partially because I didn't see it, right? I mean, the thing that really motivated people to vote for Trump, first in the primary and then in the general election, was 3 words: jobs, jobs, jobs.
Meanwhile, protection for Donald Trump was boosted several weeks ago after U.S. authorities learned of an Iranian plot to kill him. National security officials, however, say there is no known connection between the alleged Iranian plot and the assassination attempt on the former president on Saturday in Pennsylvania. The Secret Service bolstered security in June in response to the Iranian threat. This included extra counter-assault and counter-sniper agents, drones and robotic dogs. The Iranian mission at the United Nations called the report unsubstantiated and malicious. And U.S. President Joe Biden spent Tuesday trying to win over black voters in the state of Nevada. It comes a day after he described his use of the word bull's eye when talking about Donald Trump a mistake. His use of language has been called into question in light of the assassination attempt on his rival in November's presidential election. Nick Harper reports for more.
Biden spent Tuesday campaigning in the swing state of Nevada, a state where polls show him to be 4 percentage points behind Donald Trump. There he courted black voters, a crucial voting bloc and a demographic which helped him win the White House back in 2020. He gave an interview to Black Entertainment Television and spoke to the NAACP, a group that advocates for the rights of black Americans and people of colour. He used that campaign event to speak about how he believes he's helped minority groups during his presidency and how he would help them again if re-elected.
From a guy who spread the birthism lie against Barack Obama, saying he wasn't born in America and he wasn't a U.S. citizen. Of course, here's what he thinks of black jobs. I love his phrase, black jobs. It tells a lot about the man and about his character. Folks, I know what a black job is. It's the Vice President of the United States. Folks, it's because of you that I'm President and Kamala Harris is Vice President. And by the way, she's not only a great Vice President, she could be President of the United States. Let me say this again, because Trump is lying like hell about it. The black unemployment hit a record low under Biden-Harris administration.
But Biden has also faced severe criticism over the last few days since the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. Before the shooting, he said that Democrats should put Trump in a bullseye. During an interview with NBC on Monday, he was asked about that comment and admitted it had been a mistake to use the term. But he tried to explain it by saying that by bullseye he meant for his team to focus on Trump's policies and Trump's own rhetoric. Biden then mentioned some of the inflammatory rhetoric that Trump has previously used, including saying that he would be a dictator if re-elected, and joking about the hammer attack on former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's husband. Nick Harper in Washington, reporting for DD India.
And news from around the world now. Baby Dog, the pet bulldog of West Virginia's governor, Jim Justice, had predicted a Republican sweep in the upcoming elections in November. Baby Dog made a surprise appearance at day 2 of the Republican National Convention on Tuesday.
We'll retain the House, the majority in the House.
The artist responsible for creating a tattoo of former President Donald Trump immediately after the assassination attempt in Pennsylvania has become famous. Traveling tattoo artist Nikki Seven created the image for a walk-in client at the annual Orlando Tattoo Arts Festival spontaneously. A documentary about the woman called The Brink of Dreams became the first Egyptian documentary to win Cannes Golden Eye Award. The movie is filmed over 4 years. It captures their journey and dreams amidst societal challenges. Shoppers are likely to spend roughly $14 billion during Amazon's Prime Day two-day shopping event this week. The online retailer began holding Prime Day a decade ago, typically in July. Prime Day accounts for 1% to 2% of Amazon's net global sales. And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. 6 foreign nationals found dead in Bangkok hotel. Police looks for a 7th person in connection with the incident. Thai PM orders swift investigation. We'll tell you about External Affairs Minister Mauritius' visit and how he mentioned about delivered by India emerging as symbol of trust. An Indian tennis player, Sumit Nagal, climbs to career-high ATP ranking, becomes the 4th highest-ranked Indian male player since 1973.
This week on Defense Dynamics, we will analyze news recently to do with India's latest light combat aircraft, the Tejas Mark 1A. We will be exploring the latest advancements from its cutting-edge technology to its impressive combat capabilities. We will dive into what makes this aircraft a game changer for Indian Air Force. And we'll look at how the Tejas compares to its competitors, including the Chinese J-10. Don't miss in-depth analysis only on DD India on Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. IST.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, and moving on, Rwandan President Paul Kagame has won the country's presidential election with 99% of the vote, according to preliminary results released by the country's Electoral Commission. The head of the electoral body says they have been counted more than 80% of the votes cast. However, full provisional results are due by July 20th and definitive results by July 27th. Our correspondent Chris Okumranga has more from Kinshasa.
Partial results announced by Rwanda's Electoral Commission show incumbent President Paul Kagame with a clear lead of 99%. The 66-year-old leader received more than 7 million votes out of over 9 million ballots cast. His closest challenger, Frank Habineza, garnered 38,000 votes, while independent candidate Philip Mpayimana got 22,700 votes. Their tallies were less than 1% of the vote. President Kagame ran against them in the country's last elections in 2017 and won by a similar margin. The country's electoral commission barred a prominent opponent of Kagame from running in this year's polls for reportedly failing to provide the required paperwork. The results will extend President Kagame's 24-year rule by another 5 years. He thanked Rwandans for their trust in an address at his party headquarters in Kigali. Vote counting is still going on and provisional results are expected to be announced on July 20th. President Kagame has been the de facto leader of Rwanda since 1994 and officially became president in 2000. His critics accuse him of stifling dissent and sponsoring rebels to destabilize neighboring Democratic Republic of Congo. But his supporters praise him for restoring peace and building the country that was devastated by the genocide of 1994, where 800,000 Tutsis and moderate Hutus were killed by Hutu extremists. Chris Sochamringa in Kinshasa, reporting for DD India.
And 6 people, including 2 Vietnamese Americans, have been found dead inside a luxury hotel room in central Bangkok, 2 of whom were U.S. citizens. Thai police said in a separate statement that the 6 people were all foreign nationals and they are investigating the deaths of 6 foreign nationals, including looking for a 7th person in connection with the incident. Thai Prime Minister Srettha Thavisin, who visited the hotel late on Tuesday with senior police officials, ordered a swift investigation on the matter. The cause of death is not yet known. However, Srettha said there was no sign of robbery or an attack, adding the cause was presumably something related to consumption which needs to be investigated. Meanwhile, the U.S. State Department said U.S. officials are aware of the reports of the deaths of 2 U.S. citizens in Bangkok. State Department spokesman Matthew Miller said in a statement that the U.S. is closely monitoring the situation and we stand ready to provide consular assistance.
We are aware of the reports of the deaths of 2 U.S. citizens in Bangkok, Thailand. We offer our sincere condolences to the families on their loss. We are closely monitoring the situation and stand ready to provide consular assistance to those families. Whenever a U.S. citizen dies in a foreign country, local authorities are responsible for determining the cause of death. We do reach out to local authorities often to communicate with them when it involves the death of a U.S. citizen, and we will certainly be doing so here. But I would defer to the local authorities for any further comment on what I believe is an ongoing investigation.
And some weather updates now. Heavy rainfall in southeast Canada prompts flood warnings. Torrential rains flood Toronto, causing power outages, traffic disruption. Emergency services were seen rescuing motorists stranded in their cars on a flooded road near Toronto and Canada. The intense rain has caused several roads near water bodies to become heavily flooded. Authorities have asked residents to remain cautious as flooding occurs in several parts of Toronto. And Greece has implemented restrictions on outdoor work as temperatures soar once again, reaching dangerous levels. Authorities have also urged the public to take precautions such as staying indoors during peak heat hours, staying hydrated and avoiding strenuous activities. The government is closely monitoring the situation and is prepared to extend or intensify restrictions if the heat wave persists. The focus remains on safeguarding public health while minimizing disruptions to the economy and daily life. And while flash floods hit the streets of Nashville on Tuesday after reports of dam failures in the area, the Washington County Emergency Management Agency reported the Nashville Dam had failed due to heavy rainfall. A secondary dam has also reportedly failed, with evacuations of some residents in place. Over 5 inches of rain has fallen in parts of Nashville. And India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said that delivered by India is now emerging as a symbol of trust. Jaishankar lauded the commitment and professionalism of workers at the site of the Civil Service College project in Redioit during his official visit to Mauritius.
नहीं, हमें भी बहुत खुशी है कि आप लोग देखिए विदेश से बाहर जाकर इतना मेहनत करते हैं, और जो मेहनत जो करते हैं ये सब हमारे यहाँ देश की प्रतिष्ठा जो है बढ़ती है। लोग देखते हैं कि भारत कितना अच्छा दोस्त है, तो सब आपके कारण। और आप लोग बहुत काम करते हो, तो ये तो ठीक ही होगा कि मैं आपको खुद कहूँ। तो आप दूर दूर खड़े थे, हम लोग को हटाया जा रहा, कोई बात नहीं, हटा जा, मैं आ जाता बात। हम लोगों को सर बहुत अच्छा फील हो रहा है आपको यहाँ पे। नहीं, मुझे भी बहुत अच्छा। देखे ये बनना, यहाँ जो भी शासन चलाएंगे ना, सब लोग यहीं से उनकी ट्रेनिंग होगी।
Well, during his 2-day visit to Mauritius, Jaishankar inaugurated 12 high-impact community development projects. This visit witnessed the exchange of agreements for space cooperation, development of National Institute for Curriculum Research, renewing ICCR chair for Sanskrit and Indian philosophy, and digitization of Indian immigration archives. Jaishankar attended the groundbreaking ceremony of the Maitri Udyan. The visit marks one of Jaishankar's first bilateral engagements following his reappointment in the PM Modi-led government. And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. India's Minister of State for Science and Technology, Dr. Jitendra Singh, inaugurated Asia's first health research-related preclinical network facility at the Translational Health Science and Technology Institute, Faridabad, on Tuesday. The ministry said that the facility will be 9th such network laboratory across the globe and the first such laboratory in the whole of Asia. India's Central Bureau of Investigation arrested 2 more accused in connection with National Eligibility Cum Entrance Test UG paper leak case. So far, CBI has arrested 14 people in the paper leak case. The Supreme Court will also hear the matter on July 18th, which it earlier adjourned on the 8th of July. The Muslim community across India and the world are observing Muharram, the Islamic New Year celebration today. People were seen attending Muharram procession in Delhi's Chhatarpur. And on to some sports news now. Indian tennis player Sumit Nagal continued to climb ATP single chart. Now he has reached the career high ranking of 68. Olympic-bound Nagal rose 5 spots in the latest ranking list. His previous best was 71. The 26-year-old is the 4th highest ranked Indian male player since 1973. A slew of impressive performances in recent times has helped Nagal improve his ranking. Nagal has so far logged 779 ATP points. He is the sole Indian in the men's single event at the Paris Olympics. For him, the year began with a win at the Australian Open. He also competed at the French Open and the Wimbledon. Paris puts the finishing touches to the Olympic Village for the upcoming Paris Games as it is about to open its doors with the arrival of participating athletes. The site will welcome more than 20,000 athletes throughout the Olympics and Paralympics and has been designed to use existing structures as much as possible. Athletes are set to arrive from Thursday. The village is fitted with various facilities such as a fitness center, a doping control center or club where athletes can relax. The Olympic Games will start on July 26th and last until August 11th, while the Paralympics will run from August 28 to September 8th. And police officers have been deployed around Paris to secure special road lanes for Olympic athletes, delegation and other participants and facilitate smooth transportation during the Games. The Olympic lanes were activated on Monday and police have already issued 400 fines over the last 2 days. Paris road signs have been painted on pavements, signaling 185 kilometers of special lanes. They are reserved for Olympic teams, media, taxis and security and emergency vehicles. Some zones have been designated car-free so that spectators can arrive at some venues by foot. A total of 35,000 police and gendarmes will be deployed for the Games. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Up.